So guys, my name is Luis Leyva. I am a local photographer here in El Paso, Texas. I've been doing photos myself since 2017, and I've been doing it freelancely. Done local photo work for local businesses, um, yeah, models, weddings, everything. And this is my lovely girlfriend Trinity, who has also been taking pictures for a while.
Yeah, I've been taking them for about 5 years now.
5 years.
And I actually got into it my freshman year of high school. And once we actually met in high school and we got into the photography scene together. And so, yeah, I do the same exact thing. Basically, we're always together. So we're always, doing shoots together, stuff like that. And that's basically why we wanted to do the Shutter Club.
Awesome. So what inspired you guys to do this whole Shutter Club? You guys want to talk about getting out of the norms. And so what's the inspiration or motive behind this?
So the inspiration came from, of course, putting our heads together and getting out of, I guess, the norm being just, basically just point and shooting. I've seen a lot of, uh, modern society just basically just pointing and shooting and then calling it art. But we're trying a little bit different. I'm pretty sure on my Instagram, you could probably see a little bit of different that. Um, I mean, I basically myself, I've done basically everything from models to, to astrophotography, to landscapes, to stuff like that. Just having a wide variety of different aspects of photography that you can be possibly doing. I know you've tried something else, other than just portraits.
Yeah, especially because like us being together and working together, our photography style is completely different.
Yeah.
That's another question I was gonna ask you guys is, like, how do you guys manage your guys' different styles, not bumping heads and stuff,
Right.
Yeah. Well, mostly we'll be like, hey, does this look okay? Or,
yeah. We give each other like helpful advice, of course, constructive criticism sometimes. But yeah, most of the time we're helping each other, we're just trying to like make sure, everything's sharp or stuff like that, or we'll help each other with the editing. But our editing styles are completely different. So I'm very contrast, shadows in the face, stuff like that, while she is more like
light, vibrant. I mean, you can tell. Look at the
I'm wearing black.
Yeah. And I like that shirt you're wearing. Tell us a little about that collaboration you did with Temporary Vice.
So Dare to Imagine was a collaboration with Temporary Vice's Mr. Xavier Contreras. We did earlier in the year. It's basically, basically what it is, what we're talking about today is if you dare to imagine. So you have your concept in your head, now bring it out into real life.
Yeah.
So we had gone out to a place outside of Las Cruces, I believe. And we went out there and we had a couple of models, and we basically had a video where it was just full of, smoke grenades, different varieties of color, and, just trying to be different. So I partnered up with him, and it was a really amazing shoot. We had, a couple of local models and stuff like that. But it's basically what it is. It's you dare to imagine, bring your concept out of your head, and bring it into real life.
So like dare to imagine, the impossible. That's the cool thing about photography is that you could literally go anywhere without limitation. Just capture any moment. I've always told people, I'm like, the cool thing about photography is that you capture a moment that in like 100 years you could show again to like your grandchildren, could show your grandchildren and things like that. And so asking both of you guys individually, what inspired you or who inspired you to do photography?
Honestly, I really don't have an inspiration. I've always kind of been like my own person. But yeah, basically I really got into it like just from my phone. And then it started off from there, and then I started going to like football games, stuff like that, taking pictures there, and that's really what just sparked my creativity like around there. But yeah, I've always tried to be different, always try to like bring different people, do different things. I had a shoot recently, well not too recently, but I had a shoot with a drag queen, and it was honestly like one of my best shoots. It was great. So yeah, I've always just tried to be like my own person.
Right.
Like yeah.
What about you, Luis?
I basically started off in the same footsteps that she did, you know, just on my Samsung Galaxy S3, I think, taking pictures on my phone. And, you know, it just progressed. And we went to the same high school. So I was in, you know, yearbook, student council. So I went out there to all the football games and student activities. And then I decided to, you know, throw it to the side and, you know, ask, you know, if anyone needs photos of family events or, you know, just self-portraits and stuff like that. And it just progressed and progressed. And then, I mean, local businesses started to reach out to me. You know, Desert People Co. I did a, you know, a small collaboration with them with their product and their shirts. El Paso Armor, a local semi-pro football team, I did photos for them, and it just progressed and progressed. And, yeah,
you know, and being, you know, photographers, you guys, yourself, you know, what do you guys think makes a photo or make a photo stand out from any other photo, you know, because anybody can take a photo, you know, anybody that has a phone, but what do you think really pops out in a photo?
For me, it's really if the photo is able to tell a story. It doesn't mean what, like, it doesn't matter what type of story, as long as you interpret it in your own way, that's like the best thing. Yeah.
I guess like that's when the more of the art of a photo is looked at. So I look at, you know, if it's foreground or near ground, or if there's bokeh, or there's, you know, strobes or some sort of like different lighting's like the most, you know, artistic way, you know, to give your photo a little bit more pop. Opposed to, you know, just taking pictures of the sunset. You can even probably like Photoshop like light rays and stuff like that. So that's what I look for.
And I like how you mentioned that too, because I was going to ask you as well, you know, in any type of adventure or trip that you would go on, you know, what would be your go-to gear, or what gear would you recommend people start off with or always take with them?
Honestly, we use a lot of props.
Yeah.
So we'll take anything from like fireworks to like anything. Cheetos.
Yeah, so
Cheetos.
that was my recent shoot. Cheetos, you know, on Amazon, there's a lot of cool things, you know, of course, the string lights, the fairy lights. I bought a 3D printed moon that, you know, changes color, and, you know, just basically anything I can find. Water's a, you know, a simple easy thing to find, and you can mess around with water. Smoke grenades are really fun. Fire, anything, you know, there's a wide variety of props that you can use to make your photo stand out.
Yeah, something.
But yeah, a lot of photographers, you know, they have, well, like established photographers, they have all these big lighting equipment. And so I guess, you know, you guys also being more of established, you guys have the equipment you didn't have before when you first started. So, you know, what type of resources, you know, did you guys have when you first started? And, you know, how did you start getting creative with what you had when you got started?
And when I started, I had literally like the cheapest Nikon out there. I was like, we're gonna make this work. I only had 2 lenses.
It's a motive, it's a passion, yeah.
I was like, you know, we gotta start off somewhere. So literally I had 2 lenses, 1 camera, and my camera bag. And I would just go out, take pictures of anything, literally a flower, like go to Escarate, take pictures of the water, anything. And like, that's how I started off with my camera, and now my camera's gone.
But you upgraded, didn't you? Or
yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like, just don't get rid of your camera like that.
no, we upgraded.
Yeah. What about you, Luis? How did you start?
Well, I started off, you know, basically jumping from my phone, and then I had invested in my equipment. So, of course, I had my camera, and then I, of course, needed a tripod, you know, for the long exposures, the astrophotography, the star trails, and stuff like that. Just my camera bag. I still use, you know, the kit lens. I still, you know, have the same body that I've had, the Nikon D7200, which is it's getting an old camera. Yeah. But I mean, I still use that today, and, you know, tripod, bag, and just natural light.
Yeah. No, I think that's the best thing too. I mean, so going through the whole process of learning how to do photography, I always give the piece of advice of, you know, practice makes perfect. You know, you got to go out there and shoot in order to get better, you know, go out there and network and do different type of things, you know, get out of your comfort zone. So what do you guys think, you know, is maybe a good piece of advice to give to any upcoming photographer, anybody who's looking to get creative out here with photography?
honestly, just use anything you can. Even like we've talked about props, anything you can. We've used dirt, we've used water, we've used
Yeah.
everything. So whatever you can find, just make sure that you're able to use it and utilize with it, and to never give up.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Yeah, that's a big factor, just taking those hard steps.
Especially here, like I know there's a lot of competition, not only locally but worldwide or across the country, but there's still a lot of things that people haven't tried. Be the first one, try it, and you'll see the results. People will look at you and be like, that's different, I like that. So
yeah. And obviously no path is a straight path, when you're doing things. So what are some mistakes that you guys have experienced, and what have you learned from them, in photography?
Oh, you can go.
See which one's more interesting.
Mistakes. I've had, my biggest thing right now is being in the astrophotography. Just finding the right settings is very difficult. I would do a lot of research before getting into that aspect, but the first time I went out there, the middle of nowhere, no signal, so I couldn't, watch my YouTube where I learned, the settings from. So I tried to remember, and the first like long exposure I did, literally just waves and waves and all over the place. I was like, darn it. So it took me like a good, half an hour to, find the correct, exposure, my, ISO, of course, aperture and stuff like that. And then,
that's happened to me too when I used to take photos. Was just, you think you have the best photo, and then you go back to the editing room, and then you're just like, it came out too bright, or
Exactly.
Some of the worst feelings.
Yeah, knowing your settings is really a good one.
Yeah.
When I first started, honestly, when I would go work like with people, it was hard for me to pose people.
Yeah.
So I kind of would do a little research before I got to, meet with them and stuff like that. And I would be like, okay, so she likes taking pictures this way, or he likes doing it that way, and stuff like that. And I did a little bit more research on the people, and it made me a better like poser, I guess.
Yeah.
And it gives me the best pictures now. But before, I would say that, the best thing to do is do a little bit of research, get to know the people you're working with.
Especially make sure that person is, comfortable with you.
Exactly.
Because once they're comfortable, they'll do it on their own. And all you have to do is, just capture the right moment. But best thing I've learned about, with portraits and models and stuff like that is make sure they're comfortable.
Yeah. And so, with posing, I get my ideas from Pinterest. I just go on Pinterest. I literally have a whole pane of just like, downtown photo shoots, rose garden type of thing,
Yeah.
But, again, going back to the part where, some of the mistakes you've done and some of the things you learned, what have been also some tough decisions you had to make, and maybe sacrifices, in order to do things that you're doing now?
Some decisions, I mean, since we started working together, he's more of a really big daredevil. And I'm like, maybe, I shouldn't go stand on the ledge over there. But,
jump off the mountain type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally like, I'm risking my life to get the shot.
To get the
shot. I mean, I had a time where I was in Colorado for a few weeks, and I went up to a small town called Leadville, Colorado, and it's basically an old copper mining town. So we went up there with the mountains. I was with my family, and there was literally like an abandoned mine that's literally like 6-8 stories tall.
Yeah.
Me being like, I need to get this shot. I'm not gonna come out here for a while. Went up there, hiked a little bit, and like the railing where they would put the copper in, and the railing, I was literally like standing on bare wood, looking down at my death, like 8 stories, 8 stories tall. It was an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, but sometimes it's raining outside, or you don't have the best weather, wind, dust, everything, and sometimes you gotta like work with it. Sometimes the wind's not going, blowing the hair the right way, work with it,
Yeah, and
So-
sometimes when it rains too, the rainy pictures are always the best pictures,
Yeah,
Exactly.
The best time to go
Sometimes
shoot.
you get shots. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big daredevil. Of course, rooftops are always fun.
Yeah.
What's it called? Those lights on Airway. I've gotten on, right next to I-10.
Don't give people ideas.
Yeah.
Going in the middle of the freeway on I-10.
Yeah, literally.
They're like,
I'm like, what's up? Just taking some long exposure shots, but I'm a big daredevil. It's gotten up to that point where I'm like,
gotta do it for the gram,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
for real.
But as far as sacrifices, we sacrifice a lot of our daily lives, to put aside and to go and take shots for local businesses or for family or whatever the need might be. We sacrifice a lot of our personal lives as well.
Right. And so how do you even go through the process of always educating yourself, always getting better? How do you grow your craft?
Honestly, we bounce off each other a lot. So sometimes he may be knowledgeable in stuff that I don't know, or vice versa.
Mhm.
But honestly, we go online, YouTube or Pinterest. We'll see something and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, how
She's a
can we
big
do
Pinterest
this?"
girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But yeah, I'm always into like looking at other people, what they're doing, and like seeing like, okay, maybe I can try something like that or something a little bit different.
Right. And like I said, Pinterest is my thing, when I shoot, because sometimes you get models who their first time doing a photo shoot and you're just like, copy this, and they're like, over here twisted. It takes a good photographer to be able to, guide the model too, and get the best photos out of that. But, of course, with everything going on, COVID and everything, how did you guys adjust to that?
It was a little bit hard at
very
first.
hard.
Of course, we couldn't get like people out there as much to go take pictures, things like that. They were a little scared. But, we take the precautions now. When we do go on a photo shoot, we'll just be like, okay, here's some hand sanitizer, let's go, 6 feet apart, we'll just making sure they're comfortable as well. But yeah, it was a hard thing to adjust to, honestly.
Very hard thing. Just immediately people were like, no, I'm not going out anywhere.
Yeah.
And we're like, especially us being natural light shooters, we're always out there, meeting at spots, downtown, wherever they might be. It was basically a ghost town, in early March when everything happened. But now it's gotten a little bit better where people are a little bit more comfortable. But of course we take the necessary precautions, 6 feet apart, hand sanitizer, a mask if we're in a public place.
Yeah.
But it's been a hard few months, especially to get shoots.
Yeah, and it all takes some adjustment. That's the same thing with us here. It takes a lot of adjusting to things.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's impossible. But a more better question, or more funner question. Which piece has been your most favorite piece that you've ever worked on?
I'm like, I love all of them. But
the most exciting,
honestly, it had to be my photo shoot with my drag queen. Very like, I love that shoot. Fun. She like killed it. Like, she looked like a goddess out there. Yeah. Like, I love that shoot, honestly. But yeah, that had to be mine.
Yours?
Yeah, that had to be mine.
I don't know. I have a lot of really good shoots.
Really good. I've seen them. Yeah, I mean, the is my favorite one. One of like, how did? Sometimes I always wonder, like, how did you do those things where you toss the camera and it's like you capture? The hot Cheetos thing you did, and I'm like, do it.
There's a lot of I really don't have one favorite. All of my clients have been amazing. They've been very cooperative and like doing the whole hot Cheetos or the whole, water or fire, anything. It's so funny, it's a great time whenever you have stuff like that to work with.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
Always. And I like how you mentioned clients earlier. So, being a creative brand, trying to grow a business in it, how's your process in reaching out to clients, or have you ever dealt with bad clients and good clients? What were the differences there?
Usually, we just send them a DM, be like, hey, I've been seeing your Instagram. Would you be interested in the shoot? Making sure they're comfortable as always. Don't be creepy. But Yeah, usually we just DM them, see if they want to work with us, and from there we just take it. You know, what do you want to do? What are you comfortable with? What are you, bouncing off ideas off each other. But we've had some people where they're like, no, and they're like, yeah, no, we don't want to work with you, or they just simply stop replying, and
Yeah.
that's totally fine. We always have more people to work with.
Yeah, I mean, you know, how do you, I guess, see photography? Like, what does it mean to you, photography?
As far as photography itself, it means it's a lot of more passion, of course. Just always it always keeps my mind running. What else can I do to to be a little bit different and not being just in the norm. Um, and as far as going back to being an entrepreneur kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and being
Yeah.
having established clients. I've had clients from high school still have that contact, or I know Luis, he does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always hard sometimes, where you have to be like as best as you can, but in the end it just trickles down and you'll have multiple people after that. um but yeah, I mean, it's just of course it comes down with a lot of promotion, just little things, if things, especially now, $20 a shoot, take all the raw photos and send back, some ones that we can edit or stuff like that. But it's a lot of promotion, a lot of always looking out if anyone needs anything, whether it be family. I know El Paso has a big thing in the car scene, cars, anything. We try to promote ourselves as much as we can.
Yeah.
Right.
And of course, to me, like photography, it's always going to be an art. You
Yeah.
always got to see it not as a job. You always
Yeah.
have to see it that it's just something fun to do.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just something you're making money off of.
Right.
And sometimes we do shoots and we don't even make any profit off
Yeah,
it.
it's
We're
just for the art.
Yeah, it's just for
Like
art.
just for showing that it's not just point and shoot, that it's messing with light or whatever it might be, being as creative and being as artful as you can.
Yeah.
Right, and that's a joy of it, just trying to see what you can do, getting out of your comfort zone.
Right.
And what's the most, I guess, style of photography you like shooting? I think I might know the answer is portraits, but what's something that you never thought you'd try and you actually tried it?
Yeah.
And you ended up liking it.
You do a lot of portraits.
Yeah, I do a lot of portraits. I really don't get out of my comfort zone there.
No, not really.
I'm like, I don't like. I'll do sometimes. I'll be like, oh, let me take a picture of your car or like something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stick with portraits. I just try to do something a little different every time.
Yeah.
So I can work with somebody that's always in the gym, or somebody that's like, hey, I want to do something crazy, and I'm like, all right, I'm down. Crazy makeup, anything, different outfits. I'm really into just making everything look different. Yeah.
Right.
With me, I try to do different categories in photography. Of course, portraits is like, I guess, like my A1, my main. As I mentioned, I mess around with a lot of astrophotography, even with the equipment I have, kit lens, kit body. Astrophotography, I think, is really fun. Going out there in the middle of nowhere, just enjoying, the whole, life and nature and stuff like that. And then just having the camera out there and a tripod and putting a timer on it, let the camera do the work, and look at the back screen and there's the Milky Way. I think that's very fascinating. There's not only Milky Way shoots, there's also star trails if you're out there for a little bit longer. Portraits. I've been messing around with a lot of automotive photography. A lot of motion goes into play with that, which is also a good time. Hanging out of a truck or car on middle of I-10 going 60 miles an hour.
Just taking the risk,
Yeah, it's taking a risk, but that's always a good time. But yeah, just being as being a wide aspect as you can.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
For me.
just these last two questions I have for you guys, compared to where you guys are at now and what you know now, what are things that you wish you would have known when you first started that you know now?
You're gonna have, not every shoot is the best. You're gonna have some pictures that just didn't come out the way you expected them to. And it's okay. Sometimes it's okay. You learn, you live and you learn. You'll be like, okay, you know what, this is something I did wrong, the lighting's not right, or she's looking the wrong way, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You always learn from it. And now I wish I wouldn't get as mad as I did when I was like, man, like I didn't get that shot, and it was just a one-time thing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
now I've grown from it, and I'm like, sometimes just can't always expect it to be perfect.
Right.
Well, going back to that question, what do you look at to get, what you're taking a photo of as perfect as you can, your creative process in it?
Honestly, I like to use movement a lot, so I'll be like, okay, walk that way, and I'll just take the picture, and it looks as natural, and to me it's like the perfect picture.
Yeah, a lot of movement. I guess just I've learned a lot of timing, especially of course with portraits. Timing is very key, whether it be of course like with motion. Of course, if it's someone at the gym, they're going at it or whatever they're doing, their exercises and their stretches, time it correctly and you can get that perfect picture where they're in the middle, punching a bag or doing a sit up or push up or stuff like that. Timing, I've learned a lot.
Mhm.
Um, just patience. I think patience is the biggest thing.
It's a process. Yeah.
It's a very, very, very big process. I know it's very hard when you have a big client and you're under that pressure. But patience is very key, and just perfecting it, perfecting the shot and stuff like that. I would say
Yeah.
is the biggest factor.
But Luis, I ask you that same question. So, compared to where you're at now, what are things that you've learned that you wish you knew when you started?
I guess a lot of people, um, especially now, don't really look at photography being an art. And before, that's how it was. You saw, the really nice portraits, the stuff like that. And, now it's just a little bit different, but what can you do? But just to be as creative as you can. Um, but yeah, I think I would have learned, to be more patient and to also, expect, the unexpected.
Mhm.
Where I've had perfectly good shoot, 5, 10, 15 minutes in, and a dust storm comes, So I learned to actually, check the forecast, a couple hours before, make sure everything's
Yeah.
good to go and for the green light. Because I've had, shoots rescheduled, 3 days because of the weather.
Yeah.
And beforehand, I wouldn't check the weather. Like before, it was just go out there and, you're risking their time and my time and their patience and my patience
Yeah.
to not get the best quality possible. So, I mean, even little things like that, I look at and I now do to make sure, everything's good to go.
Right. So that kind of answers the next question, I guess I was going to ask you is what piece of advice, you would give people to coming into photography for the first time, or never picked up a camera and they're going to pick it up for the first time. What type of advice do you guys give?
Honestly, I would say just make it your own. Don't go off of like pictures. I mean, of course you can get inspiration, but don't go ahead and like copy somebody. Like make it your own. If it's something you like to do, do edit the way you want to and take pictures the way you want to, and just literally make it your art.
Make it your own.
Yeah, make it your own.
The advice I would give is, of course, be as different as you can. Get out of the norm of just pointing and shooting, or just doing portraits, or just shooting cars, or just you know have a variety of techniques, or have a variety. Um, of different of different shoots that you can do. The more people you can get, the more financially stable you can be in taking photos.
Mhm.
Just of course be different. Don't only stick to one thing. Even if you have no gear or some gear, use it to the fullest. Use it to the fullest. There's not only portraits. There's also long exposures. Do some research on YouTube. Some of the photographers I learned some stuff on, or Jared Poland. Um, he does
Right.
Frono's Photo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Tony, we both
I know
actually
him.
You're like, yeah.
very his YouTube is free. Free. He does have his guides or whatever, or his presets that you can buy off him, but he's a really good photographer that I've learned some stuff off of. Me and her follow or look into another photography couple, well known, Tony and Chelsea Northrop.
Mhm.
Right, I know them too. Yeah.
Yeah. They put it out there for us to educate from.
And they teach, and that's another cool thing about YouTube, is that it's
Really cool.
free. Like they're putting it out there for you to learn for free and things like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
There's resources out there.
Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest, I guess, inspirations. I don't know if you know Brandon Wolfell.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those people, who it's crazy. From if you look where he first started up until where he's at, now, it's like wow.
It's
It just takes the perfecting your craft.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
exactly.
Oh yeah, he's really I really like his style. His very he sticks to his style. It's kind of like you, where you're like bright contrast. I mean bright, vivid, and
Yeah.
it's just
Warm.
yeah. It's
Just finding your own style. Yeah.
finding your own style, and people are gonna look out for you.
Yeah. Well, Elise, Trinity, I want to, before we let you guys go, go ahead and tell, the audience who's going to be watching and listening, where can they find your guys' work? Where can they message you guys or contact you guys?
All right. So we have the Shutter Club on Instagram. So if you want to get a hold of us there, we're both on there. But if you want to reach out to us personally, I'm always free. I'm always on my phone. But my Instagram is Trixanova. And that's where I post literally all my photography, all the shoots I do, behind the scenes, everything of mine is on there.
Right.
And you, sir?
So yes, of course, the Shutter Club on Instagram. I know we really don't have much on there, but we're just really trying to settle things down with our personal lives, and also trying to have some content for everyone for us to share. But the Shutter Club is going to be our next big thing together, so keep a lookout for that. And of course, I have my personal Instagram at LLEYVA. Everyone calls me Leva, but I just without the A. Underscore LLEYV. I have all my shoots there ever since I started. You also see a few videos of getting into videography too. Some stuff there, and I'm also gonna launch my website pretty soon too.
Awesome.
Our website, and but Shutter Club, Instagram, and our YouTube coming up, and then our Instagrams.
Right, and then it's pretty cool how your YouTube, you're going to be featuring, a bunch of, behind the scenes, like showing your process of it all. I think I saw on there you guys were interviewing even other photographers as well, and also doing travel. So that's another little funner question I wanted to ask you guys too was, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you want to go take a photo at?
Oh, my place, honestly, I've really been telling him we gotta make it to New York. We have to. Yeah, New York is my go-to. I needed to.
So I've always wanted to do New York, but on a helicopter, sunset in New York.
Yeah.
So a good photographer to see that is Miss Haddon. I don't know if you know her.
No, I'm not too familiar.
She's a big aerial photographer in New York. She does amazing work there.
Yeah, but that's my place.
Yeah, she's been wanting to go to New York. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
We'll make it out there. Probably meet Brandon.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Brandon
I got sad when also Casey Neistat, when he moved to California, I was like, no, your place is New York,
Yeah.
It happens. But what about you, Luis? What place would you want to?
Mine's kind of far and expensive. But I would like to go to Iceland.
Iceland.
To photograph the Northern Lights.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And to get some shots of that. Also New York too. A lot of, city stuff would be cool. And I think probably Seattle.
Yeah,
We've
Seattle's
been
pretty
wanting
Yeah.
to go to Seattle. A little bit more my style contrasts, water, stuff like
sad.
that. Sad. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think the biggest one would be Iceland would be cool.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest ones is New York as well. You know, that little helicopter thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, guys. I mean, I want to thank you guys for coming on to the show. Really appreciate it. You're gonna help motivate a lot of people. Who want to become photographers. And always keep growing your craft. And so again, you guys, we want to give a special shout out to our sponsors again, Richie Marufo from the Barbed Wire Open Mic Series. Check them out every Monday. They feature local talent, poets, writers, singers, Regaza Bazaar models as well. If you want to learn more about modeling, upcoming modeling events. And yeah, go ahead and follow us on Instagram if you guys want to be a guest on the show or know anybody who wants to be a guest on the show. Go ahead and just message us. We'll try to get you guys on here. And yeah, guys, I mean, we'll see you guys next time, guys. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, we'll see you. Take care. Bye.